the second part of the course. So can you see my screen? Yes? Okay. Perfect. So this is the model called a Strategic Audit. And this is my name, Yuriko. You can call me Yuri, Yuriko, wherever you want. And this is basically the structure, the schedule of the course. Yesterday, you told me your name, your country, your professional background, and everything. Then we are going to review the model structure, the table of contents, how will be the assessment. At the end of the class, if you have any doubts or comments or additional questions, we can discuss at the end of the class. Basically, this is a model. This model was yesterday and today. We are going to review today the second part. And the number of topics are 5 topics in 2 classes, 2 hours each one. We can have 10 minutes break after 1 hour of class. And the evaluation is a case of a study and one report. The case of a study is based on practical aspects, and the report is more theoretical. So both of the evaluation, you need to write around for 1,500 words. You can, I suggest that 50% in the case of the study and 50% of the report, but you can change, for example, 60% in the case of a study and 40% in the report in terms of the words. But basically the weight is 50-50, but it doesn't mean that you need to write 2,250 words in each one. No, you can balance the number of words if you want. Just try to use, for example, the numbers of words in the case of the study, no, at least 2,000, or you can manage the number of words, but basically it's this weight. The case of a study is basically you need to choose a company, wherever company that you want, or in which you can have information, because you need to write, in the case of a study, what is the background of the company. I mean, what are the most important competitors, what are the risks, and what are the regulations that this company needs to follow. So additionally, you need to write what are the risks and how you could minimize them. And in this case of a study, other question that you need to answer is how the team would comply with the professional conduct of auditors. Yesterday we reviewed this. And prepare and explain the legal and professional requirements for the audit team, and design an audit and an audit strategy and audit plan. That is the topic that we are going to review today. And the second part of the assessment will be the report. In this report, basically, you need to choose a question. I'm going to provide a set of questions, and you need to choose one question and write about this question. You need to contrast ideas, and at the end you need to conclude, what is your position in this question. But in both assessment, in the case of the study and the report, I'm going to provide the instructions. I mean, I'm going to send you a document in which you need to follow the instructions. And basically, these are the two things that we are going to evaluate in these cards. And additionally, if you want to get extra points, you have the possibility to present a quiz, a very, very small test. But if you want to present this test, you need to tell me in advance to prepare the test. This quiz is optional. You can say, okay, I'm going to to present my case of a study and my report, and that's it. I'm not going to present the quiz or this small test, and it's fine. But if you want to get extra points, just let me know that you want to present this extra assessment. Okay, these are the rules of the class. I would like that you participate in the discussion, because we have to be here in this less than 2 hours. So sometimes if you participate in the discussion, it would be more dynamic. And obviously in some parts of the world, because I understand that we are in different countries, maybe the time is different. Maybe you wake up, you woke up very early, or is very late. So in this regard, if you participate, the class is much better. So other point, if you don't understand something, please let me know, please ask me. Or if you review the material in your home and you have any doubts, please let me know by mail. The presentations will be provided. So please read the presentation, because obviously the presentations don't contain everything, but it's a very helpful guide to review the topics, because for example, we are reviewing international frameworks, and these international frameworks are very, very huge, and the presentation helps to know which parts, or which part of the regulation, of this international regulation, you need to be focused on this part. Okay, so this is the calendar. We have here the 5 topics that I was telling you. And yesterday we reviewed 1 and 2. First is understand the historic and current auditing processes and procedures. And second is the importance of legal and professional requirements when completing and when we start an audit. So today we are going to review topic number 3, 4, and 5, that is understand the audit strategy, and 4, understand the risk involved in the audit process. We are going to know the different types of risk, and 5, understand the current developments in auditing, because as every topic, every area, auditing is improving, is changing. So we are going to review the most important developments in auditing. Okay, yesterday we checked this topic. We review what is the concept of auditing. That is etymologically is audit means to hear, because in the past in Great Britain, the auditor used to hear when the accountants read out the bookkeeping, to know if the bookkeeping was well done, or if they can detect a fraud. And in the United States, the audits were viewed as a verification of bookkeeping details. So basically, these are the 2 most important countries in which we have information to know how was the audit in the past. And And the concept of the auditing is an examination or inspection of different books of accounts and international controls made by an auditor. So it means that the auditor is going to review not only the books of accounts, but also the internal control in the company. So other concept, very important, is that the audit is an independent examination because the auditor is an external part of the area or of the company that he or she, the auditor, is reviewing in order to express an opinion if the company is doing the things right or not. And a third concept is that the audit is a systematic process. I mean, it means that the audit needs to follow a way, first step, second step, and we cannot skip one step. So it's a systematic process in consistency with established criteria. This established criteria is international frameworks or local standards, or even the policy, the policies and procedures inside of a company. So it could be a rule, it could be a law. So only remember these phrases that I have underlined in this slide, that the audit is made by an auditor, is an independent examination to express an opinion, and also it is a systematic process in consistency with established audit criteria. So this is the concept of audit. But we have that an audit, specifically, we have audit of financial statements that we can have, for example, an audit in internal control of the company, but this course is more related with to audit of financial statements. So what is an audit on financial statement? Is the same that we reviewed in the past slide. Is made by an auditor, is to express an opinion, but this specific audit of financial statement is to say if the financial statement are prepared in general, if the financial statement reflects the reality of the company. So basically, this audit of financial statement is the basic concept that we review in this slide, but specifically on the financial statements to reflect the economic reality of the company. The importance of the audit is examine the control and monitor the economic situation of the company, and because it's not only to say that if the financial statements are well presented or not, is to detect, for example, if the company has deficiency and correct this deficiency and improve the operation of the company. And additionally, audit is important because in some sectors, for example, in banking sector, is mandatory that the banks need to have an audit, external or internal audit. So because it's the framework that regulates this kind of industry, for example, banking, or for example, companies related to environment, or for example, some companies ask for loans, and the bank that give the money to the company, one of the requirements is that, okay, you need to present your financial statement audited by an auditor. So this is other requirement that some banks needs to know. These are one of the requirements that the banks ask to a company if they want to have a loan, so or a credit. So additionally, an audit is a way to take a better decision, because obviously the auditor is going to say how is the situation of the company internally and externally. And we have many types of audit, but the most important are two: this external and internal. External audit is to express an opinion of financial statements. We review what is the concept of audit on financial statement. But in the case of internal audit, is analyze and improve control and their performance. So external is based on financial statements. Internal is based on internal control, and this is one of the difference. Other difference is the past and certain time, because normally external audit review 1 year before. For example, if we start the audit today in this 2021, probably we will be review the last year. It means 2020. So external audit is based on the past, and internal audit is in present and ongoing future, because the internal audit look for review internal control. So we need to know how is the internal control working, and to improve this internal control and have results in the future. So the moment is other difference. Additionally, the audience. For example, in external audit, the result of the work of the external auditors is an opinion. So this opinion is helpful for investors and regulators, or in general, the public. And in the case of internal audit, the report of the internal auditor goes to the board of directors of the executive management, or in some cases, regulators too. But internal audit is worth it inside the company, and external inside and outside the company. Additionally, other difference is the framework that the external auditor and internal auditor used. For example, in the external part, the most important framework or the most important set of standards is the International Audit Standards. And in the case of internal auditor, is International Professional Practice Framework and or internal policies and procedures. Although international professional practice framework is not mandatory, so some internal auditors can use this international professional practice framework, or if they don't want to use it, it's fine, because it's not mandatory. But in the case of the external auditors, it's necessary to use these international audit standards, is mandatory. And the five difference is that the external auditor is contracted by the company or the financial group. For example, if we remember the big four, these big companies that provide external audit services, for example, KPMG, Ernst & Young, Deloitte, PwC. So these are firms that the main core of this firm is provide external audit services. So most of the companies hire or contracted these audit firms to practice an external audit in the company. But in the case of the internal audit, the internal auditor is part of the organization, is one of the employees of the organization, even when, for example, the internal auditor is not part of the area that he or she is reviewing. So, but internal auditor is part of the organization, but is not part of the area that he is reviewing. And both of the audits strengthen and protect the value of the organization. And these are the two main frameworks, international frameworks. And one is emitted by the International Federation of Accountants, and other is emitted by the Institute of Internal Auditors. And they are important, one, because they create a common language to, for example, if we practice an audit in, I don't know, maybe in the UK, if you review this audit in Philippines, you can understand the processes that the external auditor followed. So this is international audit standards is important because it creates an international language. And in the case of International Professional Practice Framework, it's important because it's a guide to tell the internal auditors what are the steps that they could follow to improve the value in the organization in terms of internal control. The structure is also kind of different because in the International Audit Standard, we have 36 rules. And in the International Professional Practice Framework, we have 2 sections. Then you can review this section in detail in when you review the presentation. And finally, as I told you, one is mandatory and other is not mandatory. Okay, then yesterday we reviewed the code of ethics. Every profession has its or own code. The code of has a code of ethics. In the case of the accountants, or in the case of the auditors, we have this code of ethics too. And basically, a code of ethics is how the behavior of a professional should be. So we have, for in the case of accountants or in the case of the auditor, we have 4 important areas or 4 important elements. One is the integrity. Is basically the auditor needs to be honest. Objectivity, that they need to be there. They need to have a very strong mind. It means should not allow a bias or conflict of interest, or they need to be very, very careful and to create conclusions. The conclusion don't need to be influenced by others. And additionally, as a third element, the auditor need to keep confidentiality, because as an auditor, we have the access to a lot of information of the company. So we need to keep this information safeguard. So confidentiality is another element. And professional behavior, that comply with relevant laws and regulation, and we need to be very careful with our behavior, because we need to create a good reputation of the accountant and of the auditor. And in the section number 2, we review some ISAs. That ISAs is a name to call the International Standard Audit. We review these 5 ISAs, and the objective of an auditor is maintain ethical requirements, professional judgment. It means that we need to have experience, to have a relevant training to apply this knowledge and this experience in the audit. And additionally, an auditor and an audit firm needs to keep the professional skepticism. It means that we need to question a lot to the management of the company, and being alert. We cannot believe in all the things that the company said. We need to have evidence. If the company said, okay, I had this income because of this reason, okay, we cannot believe 100% in this premise. We need to review, and we need to have evidence of this fact. Before to start an audit, the auditor needs to have the agreement of management. That basically this is a letter in which the management recognizes its responsibility, and in which the scope of the audit is written. The scope includes the auditor fees, the time we charge the team. So this agreement of management is necessary to start an audit. Basically is a document that the auditor and the company need to sign off. Remember, this course is more related to external audit. So for that reason, we are talking about a client and an audit firm. So for that reason, they need to sign off this contract, because basically is a contract. After the audit, it means when we finish the audit, we need to have evidence to create a conclusion. And what is the result of an audit? Is an opinion. So at the end, the external auditor, after reviewing all the areas in the company, where the external auditor is going to give an opinion. And we have different types of opinion, as the same as the agreement letter. An opinion is a document that in which the external auditor says that if the company reflects the reality or not. So a qualified opinion is a good opinion. The qualified opinion with emphasis of matter paragraphs are a good opinion, but sometimes as an external auditor, we detected a problem. So for it's important to mention in the opinion. So a qualified opinion with emphasis paragraph is everything is fine except this part. An adverse opinion is a bad opinion because our evidence as external auditor says that the company is not reflected the reality. So adverse opinion is a bad opinion, but worst of adverse opinion is disclaimer opinion, because in this case, where as an external auditor, we don't have access to the information to the company, and we cannot say that if the company is good or not, if the company is doing the things in a correct way or not. So basically the disclaimer, in the disclaimer opinion, the auditor says, I don't know if the company is good or not because I didn't have access to the financial information. So these are the different types of opinion. And for that reason, this is a kind of traffic lights in which the green means that is correct. The qualified opinion with emphasis paragraphs is yellow because it's good but not too much. An adverse opinion is bad, and very, very bad is a disclaimer opinion. So only remember the colors because it's very useful. Questions still here? Do you have any questions? Okay. Now, table, we are going to review the section number 3. Now we are going to review what is a strategy. A strategy are very important when we start an external audit, because the strategy is the way in which we can be more efficient. So the term of a strategy is created with 2 different words. These words come from the Greek, and estragos, that means army, and ago means led. So implicit, the strategy means planning or tactic or having tactics. So another concept of a strategy is coordinating efforts and managing resources. Is to question what are my resources, and how can I create a plan in which my resources or the elements that I have could work in efficiently. So, for example, I wrote here 3 different example of strategies. For example, at this advertising campaigns. And I remember, for example, that one day I was watching the TV in the night. It was a Sunday, and I watched an advertisement that contained these pancakes, very, very, very delicious pancakes. So in my mind, I wanted a pancake. So this is an advertisement campaign, because maybe the advertisement was presented in the TV on Saturday or Sunday. I don't remember which day, but in the weekend. And in the night, with a lot of people are in their houses, when you are so relaxed. So this is a very good advertisement campaign in the terms in the case of these pancakes that I'm talking about, because I wanted to have this pancake. So this is an example of a strategy. Maybe the leader of this advertising thought, okay, this advertising needs to be presented in the night. Why not in the morning, or why not in the afternoon, or why in the weekend? So maybe because the leader thought about the consumers and the time in which the consumer could watch the advertise. So another example is military planning, that, for example, when in wars or military tactics, they need to be very, very intelligent to create a strategy and win the fight. And another strategy is a football match. For example, the leader of the football team needs to think what are the characteristics of my opponent, what are the strengths and the weakness of my team. If they have very good team, or if they need to work more on the team. So a football match is another area in which we can see and the strategy. And a strategy in auditing is necessary too, because a strategy in audit sets the direction, the timing, and the scope of an audit. And it's very important, because if we have a strategy, we save time, and basically we take advantage of all the elements that we have as an external auditors. To create an audit strategy is necessary to consider the scope of the engagement. For example, what are the periods that we are going to review? If the services that we are going to provide is to review the last year, the last 2 years, the 10th last year. So the strategy contains the scope of the engagement. And additionally, it contains the reporting objectives. It means what are the products that we are going to deliver to the company. If it's only the financial statement, the audited financial statement, of if we are going to deliver other report, like for example, an opinion in terms of tax or internal control, or if we are going to deliver an opinion in a specific area. So the strategy contains reporting objectives. And additionally, we need to say the timing of the audit. Normally in external audits, we have two periods. One is preliminary, and other is a financial audit. The preliminary audit is more like in September, in October, and the final audit is next year, because we need to let the company close all the bookkeeping and all the accounting. So for that reason, we have a preliminary audit that it happens before the year ends, and a final audit when all the bookkeeping is closed. So this is normally, as an external auditor, we have these two audits. Some organizations, some companies only have one audit at the end of the year, and that's it. But most of the companies, the external auditor goes twice per year. And significant factors we need to consider in our audit strategy. Significant factors, for example, if we are going to review a company in a specific sector, because for example, I can imagine a company that is in charge of maybe something related to environment. I don't know, like maybe the air or the sea, or chemicals. Normally this kind of company follow a specific rule or a specific framework. So we need to know what are for example, a significant factor could be that we need to comply with a specific framework. And we also need to consider in the strategy the nature, timing, and extent of resources available for the engagement. This point is more related to what are the elements that I have as an external auditor. For example, what are the personnel that I have, which is my team, if my team has experience or not, if I have, for example, I don't know, maybe I have 3 staffs that they don't have a working experience. So in my strategy, I need to consider these kind of factors. Or maybe I have only 1 week to finish my audit, or I have I don't know, maybe I need to travel to another country to practice the audit. So we need to consider these other factors. Okay, it's 10:51. We are going to stop here, and I'll see you in 10 minutes. Let's take a break. If you are